What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the chapter 1173 review. This chapter is really fun. We get about 2 pages of the Zoro fight. We get about 5 pages of the Brook flashback, and about 5 pages of Summers getting fucked at the end of this chapter. So without further ado, let's get started. The title for today's chapter is A Generation of Warriors. The cover request is Usopp covering his nose with honey as a lure to catch a rhinoceros beetle. And Chopper's like standing there licking his lips behind a tree. Chopper always thinks he's hiding, bro. You are not hiding with that big ass head. Starting off the chapter, we've got Ja Rule facing off against like Dory and Brogy and the rest of the Dami Reversi giants. We have a little bit of conversation between Haruden and Zoro. He's like asking him what he's gonna do and what he's gonna do to the giants. And they're like telling him to take it easy to spare their pride. And then some of the Dami Reversi giants start talking shit to Haruden. So then Harden's like, Zoro, just fuck him up, basically. So Zoro leaps off Harden's shoulder, and Harden's like, I see, you won't get trapped between them if you approach from above. And Zoro's like leaping off of Giant from Giant, and he leaps into the air and he unleashes a 3-sword style secret technique crossing of the 6 paths. And he just like slashes all of the Dami Reversi giants in the head with some type of hockey attack. It looks pretty fucking sick. This like angers Dory and Brogy, and they like yell Zoro's name. And Zoro like does an overhead double slash to like shoot himself away, which we kind of saw him do in Wano against King. And then Dory and Brogy, they like attack each other or where Zoro was, and they end up hitting each other and slashing each other. And Zoro gets like blown away. And I'm assuming this is going to lead into just Dory and Brogy continuing to fight like Little Garden, but we don't, this is the end of the Zoro fight, at least in this chapter. So we cut over to Brook, and Brook is like inching, worming his way along the ground towards Emu. And he's completely still covered head to toe in bandages. I don't know how he's doing this when the other Straw Hats couldn't even move. Brook is still head to toe in bandages, but whatever. He gets pretty near Emu. Emu's just floating in the distance, and he yells to her. He says, Princess Shuri, are you there? Are you Princess Shuri? And Emu like glances over to him. Brook is just going off on like how this is the spitting image of the princess he used to know, and there's no way it could be her. Emu's still just floating there, and she's not saying anything. And Brook continues. He says, even if you aren't the princess, surely you must be her blood. If the princess were alive today, she'd be nearing 80 by now. And Brook continues. He says, and yet those features, the blue hair, the mismatched eye color, and a connection to the Holy Land, plus you're fond of my music too, aren't you? Every single detail is a perfect match, Princess Shuri. Still nothing from Emu. Emu is not saying anything. Brook continues, I'd hoped I'd go the rest of my life without ever having to think about you again. I owed everything to the man whose life you took, my patricidal princess. This is really interesting because in a chapter 1149, we get, a little flashback from Gunko's point of view. And she has like 2 panels. She has a panel where she's crying about her father when she's a little bit older. And then we have a panel of like her and Brook when she's younger. And what I think happened is Brook was, like a guard or something for this king of a nation. And Gunko was the daughter of that king. And I'm guessing Brook looked up to the king or something like that. And then what happened is Gunko got older, and then Emu took a liking to her, probably took her over, killed the king. And now Brook probably hates her. And that's why he doesn't want to see her, because at one point they were close. And now apparently they're not. And Gunko was crying about her father when she was older. So I'm assuming Gunko killed her father, or I'm assuming it was Emu that did this, and Brook probably doesn't know. So after Brook goes off on this shit, we get like a look inside Gunko's mind, and we see Emu talking to Gunko like in her head, and she says, Gunko, are thy memories beginning to return? And then Gunko snaps back to it, and she says, Brook, you have to run. And she is like activating her arrow ability. And we see like the arrows start to come off Brook, and we see that the arrow starts wiggling like where the children are at. So, like the arrow abilities are starting to get fucked with. So Brook gets freed from the arrows, and then we cut back inside Gunko's head, and Emu says, Gunko, thou attempts to move on thine own will? And then Gunko's like, Brook, and then she gets taken over by Emu again. So Brook is partially free, but he still has his leg trapped in the arrows. And then Brook yells to her, said, why did you tell me to run? I came to settle this matter. Now, who are you? And Emu like fucking glares at Brook. And then Emu comes in with a fucking hockey strike with her trident. And Brook blocks this shit while having his fucking leg trapped. And Emu says, shut thy mouth. Who art thou to Gunko? Brook is blocking this attack from Emu, bro. Brook's stocks are up. This is the last we're seeing Brook and Emu, but I am so excited to see where this leads with Brook and Emu, because next time we cut back, they're either going to continue to be fighting or Brook's probably going to be beat. But now we're cutting over to Usopp's group. I love how they call it Usopp's group. And he says, woo, we're finally free. So we can see that Gunko freed the rest of the Straw Hats that were tied up with their arrow abilities. Robin is still captured, but they are, they are trying to untie Robin, and they're going to go focus on the children. And we see that Sanji is just now approaching that group. So we're going to have essentially all of the Straw Hats free except Robin. But for the rest of this chapter, we are just following Spandam 2.0, Mr. Summers. So we're going over to the West Village to look at the children, and Summers is just continuing to talk shit to the children. They're talking shit back and forth. And then what ends up happening is we've got Ripley and Oimo and the rest of these like mom giants and shit. They're running up to go try to free the children. And then the monster Nika comes in and tries to attack them. So all of the mom monsters start to attack Nika, and then Nika gets pissed and just starts attacking them back. And then we cut over to Gerd and Goldberg, and they're about to, pull up to do some giant attack on them. And then Road is like, wait, let me join in. So then all three of them blast some giant, I don't know if it's like a hockey blast. I don't really know what it is. It's the same move that Dory and Brogy use, which I know they have hockey, but we don't know if these guys have hockey. But they do some giant like sword blast straight through the evil Nika. And the evil Nika, it like falls towards Sommers. So Sommers hits it, and then he hits it directly into the ship that's waiting for the children. And he just goes, oh shit. I hope Emu fucking kills Summers at the end of this, because like this dude is so much worse than Saturn, and Emu decided to kill Saturn. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, this chapter is really fun. I'm super looking forward to analyze a little bit more. I'll probably have a video come out around Sunday or so talking a little bit more about this chapter. But yeah, if you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe. See you.